Hello. Oh, I'm a bit small. Hi. Hi everyone. Hold on. I think I'm small because I intended to do this. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining again today. It's nice to see you all. Moikka moi. So, today I will be reading this short story by Agatha Christie. And I think today I will read two of them because last time I read one and one was quite short. I think it was under 1 hour for one story. So I thought I could read two this time. Uh-oh, my phone is making noises. Let me mute that before we start. Just a second. No, I forgot the Twitch title. No, this is not for members only. This is for everyone. This is for everyone. I saw your message. It was it was a message from a mod. But I'm gonna mute now, so hopefully nothing else has gone wrong. Add me in the chat if something else is wrong. Let me just do the Twitch title, and then we can start reading. Nearly instant? Good. Nice. Okay, actually I didn't even open Firefox yet. Oops. I figured I've probably forgotten something because I only had like 15 minutes to start stream today because I was outside touching grass with my friends today. So alright, I have my Twitch tab right here. Edit info. Okay, what do I call it? Book reading. Detective. Short story. I guess the just chatting category will do, or is there a category for book reading on Twitch? Surely not. Surely. Oh, Tami, thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hold on. I don't have my alerts open. But I'm going to thank the members and the super chats from this stream on the next stream because I thought I would just do a short quick stream today of reading the short stories. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm gonna turn off the alerts so that it won't cover the text, so you can read along if you want to read along. Okay, well, just chatting category will do. Yeah, storytelling stream. Yeah. I did this only one time before, and it was supposed to be a members only stream. But then I messed up the settings on YouTube, and it didn't become a members only stream. So, well, may as well. Why not? Have you read Andersen's work? I don't think I have. I have a bunch of gaps in my reading knowledge. Because I've read a lot of Agatha Christie, but there's a lot of classics that I'm still missing that I haven't read. Because there was a time that I didn't read any books and I only picked it up as an adult elf to continue reading a lot of books. Watching this at work? Hello. Yeah, I had such a good time today with my friends and yesterday too. Andersen is a dog fantasy. Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's still a lot of books that I'd like to read. If only I had more time. Okay, I'm also going to turn off the BGM now. So it's gonna be just peace and quiet here with the book reading. Okay. I'll do this and yeah, I will thank Super Chats and members. Let's say tomorrow, at the start of tomorrow's stream, or at the end of today's stream. One of the two. Okay. Let me just open chat, and I'm gonna close or minimize my OBS so it's not super distracting. It's eerily quiet. Did your ears get super used to the BGM? I know mine did. Sometimes when I go to sleep, I just hear the ding, 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 ding. It's like my brain, it's outputting itself from my brain. I don't even need to hear it from my headphones anymore. Okay, so the short stories I'll be reading today, the names are also in the description, but they are by Agatha Christie from the Poirot Investigates short story book. And if you'd like to read this for yourself at any point, this is in the public domain in the US, so you should be able to find this book very easily on the internet. And today I'll be reading The Adventure of the Western Star, so the first one, and also The Tragedy at Marsdon Manor, unless my voice dies and then I can't read a second one, but that's what I'm planning at the moment. And I'm sorry ahead of time for my French pronunciations, because Poirot speaks French and I don't know any French, so I'm going to butcher all the French in this book, if there is any. But at least I have looked up that Poirot is in fact Poirot and not Poirot. Not Poirot. So I know that much. Yeah. Sounds like an anime title. Yeah, it does. This one is a pretty adventurous one, I think. I've read them all before. But I don't remember exactly how they went. So I couldn't tell you what it's about just based off of the title. But yeah, I have the chat next to me, so in case there's anything is broken or I forgot to do something, feel free to let me know. Or there's anything wrong with my audio. Just pretend you have curly mustache and speak while doing a beak. What's a beak? Well, I'll do my best. I was also talking a lot with my friends today and yesterday, so my voice might be a bit dry right now, but hold on, let me drink some more water. No problem, mon ami. Thank you. But yeah, I'm not a voice actor, so I probably can't do like different voices for different characters, but maybe I'll try a little bit. We will see. Probably not though. Yeah, I have some water at my desk, so I'm good. All right, shall we get started? You all ready? You got your tea? Feeling cozy? Yeah, okay. By the way, can you see my cursor? Is it gonna be in the way? I wonder if I'm able to turn off the cursor. I'll have a look. Look in the properties. Oh no, I don't think it's showing my cursor. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I wouldn't want it to be in the way of the text, because I have to keep scrolling the text downwards. Okay, then we can get started. So this is The Adventure of the Western Star, Chapter 1. Actually, I don't think there are chapters. Or are there? It's a short story. The Adventure of the Western Star. I was standing at the window of Poirot's rooms, looking out idly on the street below. "That's queer," I ejaculated suddenly beneath my breath. "What is, mon ami?" asked Poirot placidly from the depths of his comfortable chair. "Deduce, Poirot, from the following facts. Here is a young lady, richly dressed, fashionable hat, magnificent furs. She is coming along slowly, looking up at the houses as she goes. Unknown to her, she is being shadowed by 3 men and a middle-aged woman. They have just been joined by an errand boy who points after the girl, gesticulating as he does so. What drama is this being played? Is the girl a crook, and are the shadowers detectives preparing to arrest her? Or are they the scoundrels, and are they plotting to attack an innocent victim? What does the great detective say?" "The great detective, mon ami, chooses, as ever, the simplest course. He rises to see for himself." And my friend joined me at the window. In a minute he gave vent to an amused chuckle. "As usual, your facts are tinged with your incurable romanticism. That is Miss Mary Marvell, the film star, and she is being followed by a bevy of admirers who have recognized her. And en passant, my dear Hastings, she is quite aware of the fact." I laughed. "So all is explained. But you get no marks for that, Poirot. It was a mere matter of recognition." "En vérité," I'm sorry about my French. "And how many times have you seen Mary Marvell on the screen, mon cher?" I thought. "About a dozen times, perhaps." "And I, once. Yet I recognize her, and you do not." "She looks so different," I replied rather feebly. "Ah, sacré," cried Poirot. "Is it that you expect her to promenade herself in the streets of London in a cowboy hat, or with bare feet and a bunch of curls, as an Irish colleen? Always with you it is the non-essentials. Remember the case of the dancer, Valérie St. Clair." I shrugged my shoulders, slightly annoyed. "But console yourself, mon ami," said Poirot, calming down. "All cannot be as Hercule Poirot. I know it well." "You really have the best opinion of yourself of anyone I ever knew," I cried, divided between amusement and annoyance. "What will you? When one is unique, one knows it. And others share that opinion, even, if I mistake not, Miss Mary Marvell." "What?" "Without doubt. She is coming here." "How do you make that out?" "Very simply. This street, it is not aristocratic, mon ami. In it there is no fashionable doctor, no fashionable dentist, still less is there a fashionable milliner. But there is a fashionable detective. Oui, my friend, it is true. I am become the mode, the dernier cri. One says to another, 'Comment? You have lost your gold pencil case? You must go to the little Belgian. He is too marvelous.' Everyone goes, 'Courez,' and they arrive in flocks, mon ami, with problems of the most foolish." A bell rang below. "What did I tell you? That is Miss Marvell." Mary Marvell was... hold on, I missed a bit. As usual, Poirot was right. After a short interval, the American film star was ushered in, and we rose to our feet. Mary Marvell was undoubtedly one of the most popular actresses on the screen. She had only lately arrived in England in company with her husband, Gregory B. Rolfe, also a film actor. Their marriage had taken place about a year ago in the States, and this was their first visit to England. They had been given a great reception. Everyone was prepared to go mad over Mary Marvel, her wonderful clothes, her furs, her jewels, above all, one jewel, the great diamond which had been nicknamed to match its owner, the Western Star. Much true and untrue had been written about this famous stone, which was reported to be insured for the enormous sum of £50,000. All these details passed rapidly through my mind as I joined with Poirot in greeting our fair client. Poirot drew forward a chair for her, and she commenced talking at once. Sorry, everyone. Miss Marvel was small and slender, very fair and girlish-looking, with the wide, innocent blue eyes of a child. Poirot drew forward a chair for her, and she commenced talking at once. You will probably think me very foolish, Monsieur Poirot, but Lord Cronshaw was telling me last night how wonderfully you cleared up the mystery of his nephew's death, and I felt that I just must have your advice. I dare say it's only a silly hoax. Gregory says so, but it's just worrying me to death. She paused for breath. Poirot beamed encouragement. Proceed, madame. You comprehend I am still in the dark. It's these letters. Miss Marvel unclasped her handbag and drew out 3 envelopes, which she handed to Poirot. The latter scrutinized them closely. Cheap paper, the name and address carefully printed. Let us see the inside. He drew out the enclosure. I had joined him and was leaning over his shoulder. The writing consisted of a single sentence, carefully printed like the envelope. It ran as follows: The great diamond, which is the left eye of the god, must return whence it came. The second letter was couched in precisely the same terms, but the third was more explicit. You have been warned. You have not obeyed. Now the diamond will be taken from you. At the full of the moon, the 2 diamonds, which are the left and right eye of the god, shall return. So it is written. The first letter I treated as a joke, explained Miss Marvel. When I got the second, I began to wonder. The third one came yesterday, and it seemed to me that after all, the matter might be more serious than I had imagined. I see they did not come by post, these letters. No, they were left by hand by a Chinaman. That is what frightens me. Why? Because it was from a chink in San Francisco that Gregory brought the stone 3 years ago. I see, madame, that you believe the diamond referred to be the Western Star, finished Miss Marvel. That's so. At the time, Gregory remembers that there was some story attached to the stone, but the chink wasn't handing out any information. Gregory says he seemed just scared to death and in a mortal hurry to get rid of the thing. He only asked about 1/10 of its value. It was Greg's wedding present to me. Poirot nodded thoughtfully. The story seems of an almost unbelievable romanticism. And yet, who knows? I pray of you, Hastings, hand me my little almanac. I complied. Voyons, said Poirot, turning the leaves. When is the date of the full moon? Friday next. That is in 3 days' time. Bien, madame, you seek my advice. I give it to you. This belle historie may be a hoax, but it may not. Therefore, I counsel you to place the diamond in my keeping until after Friday next. Then we can take what steps as we please. A slight cloud passed over the actress's face, and she replied constrainedly, I'm afraid that's impossible. You have it with you, huh? Poirot was watching her narrowly. The girl hesitated a moment, then slipped her hand into the bosom of her gown, drawing out a long, thin chain. She leaned forward, enclosing her hand. In the palm, a stone of white fire, exquisitely set in platinum, lay and winked at us solemnly. Poirot drew in his breath with a long hiss. Épatant, he murmured. You permit, madame? He took the jewel in his own hand and scrutinized it keenly, and then restored it to her with a little bow. A magnificent stone, without a flaw. Ah, centonere, and you carry it about with you. Come ça? No, I'm very careful really, Monsieur Poirot. As a rule, it's locked up in my jewel case and left in the hotel safe deposit. We're staying at the Magnificent, you know. I brought it along today for you to see. And you will leave it with me, n'est-ce pas? You will be advised by Papa Poirot? Well, you see, it's this way, Monsieur Poirot. On Friday, we're going down to Yardley Chase to spend a few days with Lord and Lady Yardley. Her words awoke a vague echo of remembrance in my mind. Some gossip. What was it now? A few years ago, Lord and Lady Yardley had paid a visit to the States. Rumour had it that his lordship had rather gone the pace out there with the assistance of some lady friends. But surely there was something more gossip which coupled Lady Yardley's name with that of a movie star in California. Why? It came to me in a flash. Of course it was none other than Gregory B. Rolfe. I'll let you into a little secret, Monsieur Poirot, Miss Marvel was continuing. We've got a deal on with Lord Yardley. There's some chance of our arranging to film a play down there in his ancestral pile. At Yardley Chase? I cried, interested. Why, it's one of the show places of England. Miss Marvel nodded. I guess it's the real old feudal stuff all right. But he wants a pretty stiff price, and of course I don't know yet whether the deal will go through, but Greg and I always like to combine business with pleasure. But, I demand pardon if I am dense, madame. Surely it is possible to visit Yardley Chase without taking the diamond with you? A shrewd, hard look came into Miss Marvel's eyes, which belied their childlike appearance. She looked suddenly a good deal older. I want to wear it down there. Surely, I said suddenly, there are some very famous jewels in the Yardley collection. A large diamond amongst them? That's so, said Miss Marvel briefly. I heard Poirot murmur beneath his breath, Ah, ça come ka. And then he said aloud, with his usual uncanny look in hitting the bull's eye. He dignifies it by the name of psychology. Then you are without doubt already acquainted with Lady Yardley, or perhaps your husband is. Gregory knew her when she was out west 3 years ago, said Miss Marvel. She hesitated a moment, and then added abruptly, Do either of you ever see society gossip? We both pleaded guilty, rather shamefacedly. I ask because in this week's number there is an article on famous jewels, and it's really very curious, she broke off. I rose, went to the table at the other side of the room, and returned with the paper in question in my hand. She took it from me, found the article, and began to read aloud. Amongst other famous stones may be included the Star of the East, a diamond in the possession of the Yardley family. An ancestor of the present Lord Yardley brought it back with him from China, and a romantic story is said to attach to it. According to this, the stone was once the right eye of a temple god. Another diamond, exactly similar in form and size, formed the left eye, and the story goes that this jewel too would in course of time be stolen. One eye shall go west, the other east, till they shall meet once more. Then in triumph shall they return to the god. It is a curious coincidence that there is at the present time a stone corresponding closely in description with this one, and known as the Star of the West, or the Western Star. It is the property of the celebrated film star, Miss Mary Marvel. A comparison of the two stones would be interesting. I stopped. "Épatant," murmured Poirot. "Without a doubt a romance of the first water." He turned to Mary Marvel. "And you are not afraid, madame? You have no superstitious terrors? You do not fear to introduce these two Siamese twins to each other, lest a Chinaman should appear, and hey presto, whisk them both back to China?" His tone was mocking, but I fancied that an undercurrent of seriousness lay beneath it. "I don't believe that Lady Yardley's diamond is anything like as good as mine," said Miss Marvel. "Anyway, I'm going to see." What more Poirot could have said I do not know, for at that moment the door flew open and a splendid-looking man strode into the room. From his crisply curling black head to the tips of his patent leather boots, he was a hero fit for romance. "I said I'd call round for you, Mary," said Gregory Wolfe, "and here I am. Well, what does Monsieur Poirot say to our little problem? Just one big hoax, same as I do?" Poirot smiled up at the big actor. They made a ridiculous contrast. "Hoax or no hoax, Mr. Wolfe," he said dryly, "I have advised Madame, your wife, not to take the jewel with her to Yardley Chase on Friday." "I'm with you there, sir. I've already said so to Mary. But there, she's a woman through and through, and I guess she can't bear to think of another woman outshining her in the jewel line." "What nonsense, Gregory," said Mary Marvel sharply, but she flushed angrily. Poirot shrugged his shoulders. "Madame, I have advised. I can do no more. C'est fini." He bowed them both to the door. "Ah, la la," he observed, returning. "Histoire de femmes. The good husband, he hit the nail on the head. Tat de même. But he was not tactful, assuredly not." I imparted to him my vague remembrances, and he nodded vigorously. "So I thought. All the same, there is something curious underneath all this. With your permission, mon ami, I will take the air. Await my return, I beg of you. I shall not be long." I was half asleep in my chair when the landlady tapped on the door and put her head in. "It's another lady to see Mr. Poirot, sir. I've told her he was out, but she says as how she'll wait, seeing as she's come up from the country." "Oh, show her in here, Mrs. Murchison. Perhaps I can do something for her." In another moment the lady had been ushered in. My heart gave a leap as I recognized her. Lady Yardley's portrait had figured too often in the society papers to allow her to remain unknown. Do sit down, Lady Yardley, I said, drawing forward a chair. My friend Poirot is out, but I know for a fact that he'll be back very shortly. She thanked me and sat down. A very different type, this, from Miss Mary Marvel. Tall, dark, with flashing eyes and a pale, proud face. Yet something wistful in the curves of the mouth. I felt a desire to rise to the occasion. Why not? In Poirot's presence I have frequently felt a difficulty. I do not appear at my best. And yet there is no doubt that I, too, possess the deductive sense in a marked degree. I leant forward on a sudden impulse. Lady Yardley, I said, I know why you have come here. You have received the blackmailing letters about the diamond. There was no doubt as to my bolt having shot home. She stared at me open-mouthed, all color banished from her cheeks. You know? How? I smiled. By a perfectly logical process. If Miss Marvel has had warning letters. Miss Marvel? She has been here? She has just left. As I was saying, if she, as the holder of one of the twin diamonds, has received a mysterious series of warnings, you, as the holder of the other stone, must necessarily have done the same. You see how simple it is? I am right, then, that you have received these strange communications also? For a moment she hesitated, as though in doubt whether to trust me or not, and then she bowed her head in assent with a little smile. That is so, she acknowledged. Were yours too left by hand, by a Chinaman? No, they came by post. But tell me, has Miss Marvel undergone the same experience then? I recounted to her the events of the morning. She listened attentively. It all fits in. My letters are the duplicates of hers. It is true that they came by post, but there is a curious perfume impregnating them. Something in the nature of joss stick that at once suggested the East to me. What does it all mean? I shook my head. That is what we must find out. You have the letters with you? We might learn something from the postmarks. Unfortunately, I destroyed them. You understand, at the time I regarded it as some foolish joke. Can it be true that some Chinese gang are really trying to recover the diamonds? It seems too incredible. We went over the facts again and again, but could get no further towards the elucidation of the mystery. At last, Lady Yardley rose. I really don't think I need wait for Monsieur Poirot. You can tell him all this, can't you? Thank you so much, Mr. She hesitated, her hand outstretched. Captain Hastings. Of course, how stupid of me. You're a friend of the Cavendishes, aren't you? It was Mary Cavendish who sent me to Monsieur Poirot. When my friend returned, I enjoyed telling him the tale of what had occurred during his absence. He cross-questioned me rather sharply over the details of our conversation, and I could read between the lines that he was not best pleased to have been absent. I also fancied that the dear old fellow was just the least inclined to be jealous. It had become rather a pose with him to consistently belittle my abilities, and I think he was chagrined at finding no loophole for criticism. I was secretly rather pleased with myself, though I tried to conceal the fact for fear of irritating him. In spite of his idiosyncrasies, I was deeply attached to my quaint little friend. Bien, he said at length, with a curious look on his face. The plot develops. Pass me, I pray you, that peerage on the top shelf there. He turned the leaves. Ah, here we are. Yardley. 10th Viscount. Served South African War. Tu sa n'a pas d'importance. Mar 1908. 1907. H.O.N. Maud Supperton, 4th daughter of 3rd Baron Cotterill. Has is 2 daughters born 1908, 1910. Clubs, residences. Voila! That does not tell us much. But tomorrow morning we will see this, milord. What? Yes, I telegraphed to him. I thought you had washed your hands of the case. I am not acting for Miss Marvel since she refuses to be guided by my advice. What I do now is for my own satisfaction, the satisfaction of Hercule Poirot. Decidedly, I must have a finger in this pie. And you calmly wire Lord Yardley to dash up to town just to suit your convenience. He won't be pleased. Au contraire, if I preserve for him his family diamond, he ought to be very grateful. Then you really think there's a chance of it being stolen? I asked eagerly. Almost a certainty, replied Poirot placidly. Everything points that way. But how? Poirot stopped my eager questions with an airy gesture of the hand. Not now, I pray you. Let us not confuse the mind. And observe that peerage, how you have replaced him. See you not that the tallest books go in the top shelf, the next tallest in the row beneath, and so on? Thus we have order, method, which I have often told you, Hastings. Exactly, I said hastily, and put the offending volume in its proper place. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Hold on. I'm so sorry about my French. I'm very sorry. Chapter 2. Lord Yardley turned out to be a cheery, loud-voiced sportsman with a rather red face, but with a good-humoured bonhomie about him that was distinctly attractive and made up for any lack of mentality. Extraordinary business this, Monsieur Poirot. Can't make head or tail of it. Seems my wife's been getting odd kind of letters, and that this Miss Marvel's had 'em too. What does it all mean? Poirot handed him the copy of Society Gossip. First, milord, I would ask you if these facts are substantially correct? The peer took it. His face darkened with anger as he read. Damned nonsense, he spluttered. There's never been any romantic story attaching to the diamond. It came from India originally, I believe. I never heard of all these Chinese god stuff. Still, the stone is known as the Star of the East. Well, what if it is? He demanded wrathfully. Poirot smiled a little, but made no direct reply. What I would ask you to do, my lord, is to place yourself in my hands. If you do so unreservedly, I have great hopes of averting the catastrophe. Then you think there's actually something in these wildcat tales? Will you do as I ask you? Of course I will, but... Bien! Then permit that I ask you a few questions. This affair of Yardley Chase, is it, as you say, all fixed up between you and Mr. Rudolph? Oh, he told you about it, did he? No, there's nothing settled. He hesitated, the brick-red color of his face deepening. Might as well get the thing straight. I've made rather an ass of myself in many ways, Monsieur Poirot, and I'm head over head over ears in debt, but I want to pull up. I'm fond of the kids, and I want to straighten things up and be able to live on at the old place. Gregory Rolfe is offering me big money, enough to set me on my feet again. I don't want to do it. I hate the thought of all that crowd play acting round the chase. But I may have to, unless... Poirot eyed him keenly. You have, then, another string to your bow? Permit that I make a guess? It is to sell the Star of the East. Lord Yardley nodded. That's it. It's been in the family for some generations, but it's not entailed. Still, it's not the easiest thing in the world to find a purchaser. Hofberg, the Hatton Garden man, is on the lookout for a likely customer, but he'll have to find one soon or it's a washout. One more question, Permettes. Lady Yardley, which plan does she approve? Oh, she's bitterly opposed to my selling the jewel. You know what women are? She's all for this film stunt. I comprehend, said Poirot. He remained a moment or so in thought, then rose briskly to his feet. You return to Yardley Chase at once? Bien. Say no word to anyone. To anyone, mind. But expect us there this evening. We will arrive shortly after 5. All right, but I don't see... Ça n'a pas d'importance, said Poirot kindly. You will that I preserve for you your diamond, n'est-ce pas? Yes, but then do as I say. A sadly bewildered nobleman left the room. Chapter 3. It was 5:30 when we arrived at the Yardley Chase and followed the dignified butler to the old panelled hall with its fire of blazing logs. A pretty picture met our eyes. Lady Yardley and her 2 children. The mother's proud dark head bent down over the 2 fair ones. Lord Yardley stood near, smiling down on them. Monsieur Poirot and Captain Hastings, announced the butler. Lady Yardley looked up with a start. Her husband came forward uncertainly, his eyes seeking instruction from Poirot. The little man was equal to the occasion. All my excuses. It is that I investigate still this affair of Miss Marvel's. She comes to you on Friday, does she not? I make a little tour first to make sure that all is secure. Also, I wanted to ask of Lady Yardley if she recollected at all the postmarks on the letters she received. Lady Yardley shook her head regretfully. I'm afraid I don't. It is stupid of me, but you see, I never dreamt of taking them seriously. You will stay the night? Asked Lord Yardley. Oh, my lord, I fear to incommode you. We have left our bags at the inn. That's all right. Lord Yardley had his cue. We'll send down for them. No trouble, I assure you. Poirot permitted himself to be persuaded, and sitting down by Lady Yardley, began to make friends with the children. In a short time they were all romping together and had dragged me into the game. Vouete bonne mère, said Poirot with a gallant little bow, as the children were removed reluctantly by a stern nurse. Lady Yardley smoothed her ruffled hair. I adore them, she said with a little catch in her voice. And they you, with reason. Poirot bowed again. A dress gong sounded, and we rose to go up to our rooms. At that moment the butler entered with a telegram on a salver which he handed to Lord Yardley. The letter tore it open with a brief word of apology. As he read it, he stiffened visibly. With an ejaculation, he handed it to his wife. Then he glanced at my friend. "Just a minute, Monsieur Poirot. I feel you ought to know about this. It's from Hofburg. He thinks he's found a customer for the diamond. An American sailing for the States tomorrow. They're sending down a chap tonight to vet the stone. By Jove, though, if this goes through," words failed him. Lady Yardley had turned away. She still held the telegram in her hand. "I wish you wouldn't sell it, George," she said in a low voice. "It's been in the family so long." She waited, as though for a reply, but when none came, her face hardened. She shrugged her shoulders. "I must go and dress. I suppose I had better display the goods." She turned to Poirot with a slight grimace. "It's one of the most hideous necklaces that was ever designed. George has always promised to have the stones reset for me, but it's never been done." She left the room. Half an hour later, we three were assembled in the great drawing room awaiting the lady. It was already a few minutes past the dinner hour. Suddenly, there was a low rustle, and Lady Yardley appeared framed in the doorway, a radiant figure in a long white shimmering dress. Round the column of her neck was a rivulet of fire. She stood there, with one hand just touching the necklace. "Behold the sacrifice," she said gaily. Her ill humor seemed to have vanished. "Wait while I turn the big light on, and you shall feast your eyes on the ugliest necklace in England." The switches were just outside the door. As she stretched out her hand to them, the incredible thing happened. Suddenly, without any warning, every light was extinguished. The door banged, and from the other side of it came a long-drawn, piercing woman's scream. "My God!" cried Lord Yardley. "That was Maud's voice. What has happened?" We rushed blindly for the door, cannoning into each other in the darkness. It was some minutes before we could find it. What a sight met our eyes! Lady Yardley lay senseless on the marble floor. A crimson mark on her white throat where the necklace had been wrenched from her neck. As we bent over her, uncertain for the moment whether she was dead or alive, her eyelids opened. "The Chinaman," she whispered painfully. "The Chinaman. The side door." Lord Yardley sprang up with an oath. I accompanied him, my heart beating wildly. The Chinaman again! The side door in question was a small one in the angle of the wall, not more than a dozen yards from the scene of the tragedy. As we reached it, I gave a cry. There, just short of the threshold, lay the guttering necklace, evidently dropped by the thief in the panic of his flight. I swooped joyously down on it. Then I uttered another cry, which Lord Yardley echoed. For in the middle of the necklace was a great gap. The Star of the East was missing. "That settles it," I breathed. These were no ordinary thieves. This one stone was all they wanted. But how did the fellow get in? Through this door. But it's always locked. I shook my head. It's not locked now. See? I pulled it open as I spoke. As I did so, something fluttered to the ground. I picked it up. It was a piece of silk, and the embroidery was unmistakable. It had been torn from a Chinaman's robe. In his haste, it caught in the door. I explained. "Come, hurry, he cannot have gone far as of yet." But in vain we bunted and searched. In the pitch darkness of the night, the thief had found it easy to make his getaway. We returned reluctantly, and Lord Yardley sent off one of the footmen post-haste to fetch the police. Lord Yardley, aptly ministered to by Poirot, who is as good as a woman in these matters, was sufficiently recovered to be able to tell her story. "I was just going to turn on the other light," she said, "when a man sprang on me from behind. He tore my necklace from my neck with such force that I fell headlong to the floor. As I fell, I saw him disappearing through the side door. Then I realized by the pigtail and the embroidered robe that he was a Chinaman." She stopped with a shudder. The butler reappeared. He spoke in a low voice to Lord Yardley. "A gentleman from Mr. Hofburg's, my lord. He says you expect him." "Good heavens!" cried the distracted nobleman. "I must see him, I suppose. No, not here, Mullings, in the library." I drew Poirot aside. "Look here, my dear fellow, hadn't we better get back to London?" "You think so, Hastings? Why?" "Well," I coughed delicately, "things haven't gone very well, have they? I mean, you tell Lord Yardley to place himself in your hands, and all will be well. And then the diamond vanishes from under your very nose." "True," said Poirot, rather crestfallen. "It was not one of my most striking triumphs." This way of describing events almost caused me to smile, but I stuck to my guns. "So, having, pardon the expression, rather made a mess of things, don't you think it would be more graceful to leave immediately?" "And the dinner, the, without doubt, excellent dinner that the chef of Lord Yardley has prepared?" "Oh, what's dinner?" I said impatiently. Poirot held up his hands in horror. "Mon Dieu! It is that in this country you treat the affairs gastronomic with a criminal indifference." "There's another reason why we should get back to London as soon as possible," I continued. "What is that, my friend?" "The other diamond," I said, lowering my voice. "Miss Marvel's." "Eh bien, what of it?" "Don't you see?" His unusual obtuseness annoyed me. What had happened to his usually keen wits? "They've got one. Now they'll go for the other." "Tiens!" cried Poirot, stepping back a pace and regarding me with admiration. "But your brain marches to a marvel, my friend. Figure to yourself that for the moment I had not thought of that. But there is plenty of time. The full of the moon, it is not until Friday." I shook my head dubiously. The full of the moon theory left me entirely cold. I had my way with Poirot, however, and we departed immediately, leaving behind us a note of explanation and apology for Lord Yardley. My idea was to go at once to the Magnificent and relate to Miss Marvel what had occurred. But Poirot vetoed the plan and insisted that the morning would be time enough. I gave in rather grudgingly. In the morning, Poirot seemed strangely disinclined to stir out. I began to suspect that, having made a mistake to start with, he was rather singularly loath to proceed with the case. In answer to my persuasions, he pointed out, with admirable common sense, that as the details of the affair at Yardley Chase were already in the morning papers, The Rolfs would know quite as much as we could tell them. I gave way unwillingly. Events proved my forebodings to be justified. About 2 o'clock, the telephone rang. Poirot answered it. He listened for some moments, then with a brief "Bien, je serai," he rang off and turned to me. "What do you think, mon ami?" He looked half ashamed, half excited. "The diamond of Miss Marvel. It has been stolen." "What?" I cried, springing up. "And what about the full of the moon now?" Poirot hung his head. "When did this happen?" "This morning, I understand." I shook my head sadly. "If only you had listened to me. You see, I was right." "It appears so, mon ami," said Poirot cautiously. "Appearances are deceptive, they say, but it certainly appears so." As we hurried in a taxi to the Magnificent, I puzzled out the true inwardness of the scheme. That full of the moon idea was clever. The whole point of it was to get us to concentrate on the Friday and so be off our guard beforehand. It is a pity you did not realize that. "Ma foi," said Poirot angrily, his nonchalance quite restored after its brief eclipse. "One cannot think of everything." I felt sorry for him. He did so hate failure of any kind. "Cheer up," I said consolingly. "Better luck next time." At the Magnificent, we were ushered at once into the manager's office. Gregory Rolfe was there with 2 men from Scotland Yard. A pale-faced clerk sat opposite them. Rolfe nodded to us as we entered. "We're getting to the bottom of it," he said. "But it's almost unbelievable. How the guy had the nerve, I can't think." A very few minutes sufficed to give us the facts. Mr. Rolfe had gone out of the hotel at 11:15. At 11:30, a gentleman, so alike him in appearance as to pass muster, entered the hotel and demanded the jewel case from the safe deposit. He duly signed the receipt, remarking carelessly as he did so, "Looks a bit different from my ordinary one, but I hurt my hand getting out of the taxi." The clerk merely smiled and remarked that he saw very little difference. Rolfe laughed and said, "Well, don't run me in as a crook this time, anyway. I've been getting threatening letters from a Chinaman, and the worst of it is, I look rather like a chink myself. It's something about the eyes." "I looked at him," said the clerk who was telling us this, "and I saw at once what he meant. The eyes slanted up at the corners like an Oriental's. I'd never noticed it before." "Darn it all, man," roared Gregory Rolfe, leaning forward. "Do you notice it now?" The man looked up at him and started. "No, sir," he said. "I can't say I do." And indeed, there was nothing even remotely Oriental about the frank brown eyes that looked into ours. The Scotland Yard man grunted. "Bold customer. Thought the eyes might be noticed and took the bull by the horns to disarm suspicion. He must have watched you out of the hotel, sir, and nipped in as soon as you were well away." "What about the jewel case?" I asked. "It was found in a corridor of the hotel. Only one thing had been taken, the Western Star." We stared at each other. The whole thing was so bizarre, so unreal. Poirot hopped briskly to his feet. "I have not been of much use, I fear," he said regretfully. "Is it permitted to see Madame?" "I guess she's prostrated with the shock." explained Rolf. Then perhaps I might have a few words alone with you, monsieur? Certainly. In about 5 minutes, Poirot reappeared. Now, my friend, he said gaily, to a post office. I have to send a telegram. Who to? Lord Yardley. He discounted further inquiries by slipping his arm through mine. Come, come, mon ami. I know all that you feel about this miserable business. I have not distinguished myself. You, in my place, might have distinguished yourself. Bien, all is admitted. Let us forget it and have lunch. It was about 4 o'clock when we entered Poirot's rooms. A figure rose from a chair by the window. It was Lord Yardley. He looked haggard and distraught. I got your wire and came up at once. Look here. I've been round to Hofburg, and they know nothing about that man of theirs last night, or the wire either. Do you think that... Poirot held up his hand. My excuses. I sent that wire and hired the gentleman in question. You? But why? What? The nobleman spluttered impotently. My little idea was to bring things to a head, explained Poirot placidly. Bring things to a head? Oh my God! Cried Lord Yardley. And the ruse succeeded, said Poirot cheerfully. Therefore, my lord, I have much pleasure in returning you this. With a dramatic gesture, he produced a glittering object. It was a great diamond. The Star of the East, gasped Lord Yardley. But I don't understand. No, said Poirot. It makes no matter. Believe me, it was necessary for the diamond to be stolen. I promised you that it would be preserved to you, and I have kept my word. You must permit me to keep my little secret. Convey, I beg of you, the assurances of my deepest respect to Lady Yardley, and tell her how pleased I am to be able to restore her jewel to her. What bien temps, is it not? Good day, my lord. And smiling and talking, the amazing little man conducted the bewildered nobleman to the door. He returned, gently rubbing his hands. Poirot, I said, am I quite demented? No, mon ami, but you are, as always, in a mental fog. How did you get the diamond? From Mr. Rolf. Maui, the warning letters, the Chinaman, the article in Society Gossip, all sprang from the ingenious brain of Mr. Rolf. The 2 diamonds, supposed to be so miraculously alike, bah, they did not exist. There was only 1 diamond, my friend. Originally in the Yardley collection, for 3 years it has been in the possession of Mr. Rolf. He stole it this morning with the assistance of a touch of grease paint at the corner of each eye. Ah, I must see him on the film. He is indeed an artist, celui-là. But why should he steal his own diamond? I asked, puzzled. For many reasons. To begin with, Lady Yardley was getting restive. Lady Yardley? You comprehend, she was left much alone in California. Her husband was amusing himself elsewhere. Mr. Rolf was handsome, he had an air about him, of romance. But au fond, he is very businesslike, ce monsieur. He made love to Lady Yardley, and then he blackmailed her. I taxed the lady with the truth the other night, and she admitted it. She swore that she had only been indiscreet, and I believe her. But undoubtedly, Rolf had letters of hers that could be twisted to bear a different interpretation. Terrified by the threat of a divorce and the prospect of being separated from her children, she agreed to all he wished. She had no money of her own, and she was forced to permit him to substitute a paste replica for the real stone. The coincidence of the date of the appearance of the Western Star struck me at once. All goes well. Lord Yardley prepares to range himself, to settle down. And then comes the menace of the possible sale of the diamond. The substitution will be discovered. Without doubt, she writes off frantically to Gregory Rolfe, who has just arrived in England. He soothes her by promising to arrange all, and prepares for a double robbery. In this way, he will quiet the lady, who might conceivably tell all to her husband. An affair which would not suit our blackmailer at all. He will have £50,000 insurance money. You had forgotten that. And he will still have the diamond. At this point, I put my finger in the pie. The arrival of a diamond expert is announced. Lady Yardley, as I felt sure she would, immediately arranges a robbery, and does it very well too. But Hercule Poirot, he sees nothing but facts. What happens in actuality? The lady switches off the lights, bangs the door, throws the necklace down the passage, and screams. She has already wrenched out the diamond with pliers upstairs. But we saw the necklace round her neck, I objected. I demand pardon, my friend. Her hand concealed the part of it where the gap would have shown. To place a piece of silk in the door beforehand is child's play. Of course, as soon as Rolf read of the robbery, he arranged his own little comedy, and very well he played it. What did you say to him? I asked with lively curiosity. I said to him that Lady Yardley had told her husband all, that I was empowered to recover the jewel, and that if it were not immediately handed over, proceedings would be taken. Also a few more little lies which occurred to me. He was as wax in my hands. I pondered the matter. It seems a little unfair on Mary Marvel. She has lost her diamond through no fault of her own. Bah, said Poirot brutally. She has a magnificent advertisement. That is all she cares for, that one. Now the other, she is different. Bonne mère, très femme. Yes, I said doubtfully, hardly sharing Poirot's views on femininity. I suppose it was Rolf who sent her the duplicate letters. Pas du tout, said Poirot briskly. She came by the advice of Mary Cavendish to seek my aid in her dilemma. Then she heard that Mary Marvel, whom she knew to be her enemy, had been here, and she changed her mind, jumping at a pretext that you, my friend, offered her. A very few questions sufficed to show me that you told her of the letters. Not she, you. She jumped at the chance your words offered. I don't believe it, I cried, stung. Si, mon ami. It is a pity that you study not the psychology. She told you that the letters were destroyed? Oh la la, never does a woman destroy a letter if she can avoid it. Not even if it would be more prudent to do so. It's all very well, I said, my anger rising. But you've made a perfect fool of me, from beginning to end. No, It's all very well to try and explain it away afterwards. There really is a limit. But you were so enjoying yourself, my friend. I had not the heart to shatter your illusions. It is no good. You've gone a bit too far this time. Mon Dieu, but how you enrage yourself for nothing, mon ami. I'm fed up. I went out, banging the door. Poirot had made an absolute laughingstock of me. I decided that he needed a sharp lesson. I would let some time elapse before I forgave him. He had encouraged me to make a perfect fool of myself. And that's the end of this story. What did you guys think? Did you guess that it was Monsieur Poirot himself who arranged the little robbery? Yeah, Hastings, the narrator, got completely baited. I feel almost bad for him. Yes. So I think my voice feels kind of okay, so I can read another story. If I just take a little break first. A little break to drink some water and use the bathroom, and then we can read The Tragedy at Marsdon Manor. You heard a bunch of French words. I'm not sure it even sounded like French. That was good. I didn't expect Lady Yardley to be part of it. Yeah, I didn't expect the blackmail plotline either. Yeah, this one, I think honestly that the short stories are a little bit rather much harder to figure out as you read, like what the backstory is versus like the full-length Poirot books, because the full-length books go into so much more detail and give you so many more clues. These are just like kind of like a taste test of the Poirot mysteries. There's much fewer hints, yeah, and you don't really get to know the characters when the story is so short. Only a little bit. Oh my god. That one guy was so racist. That was so racist, man. But yeah, I wonder what time period these stories are like technically told in. Would it be like the 1920s or something? Like 1950s? People were so racist. They were so racist, man. 1920 to 1930, wasn't it? I see. Yeah, pretty olden times, yeah. I'm falling asleep? That's alright. Unless it's like 5 p.m. where you live, then, well, you could go for a nap. After Between the World Wars, yeah. Oh, that's true, right. These books, they often talk of like Captain, like the narrator Hastings is called Captain Hastings because he served in the war, and like Colonel and General, like these titles are everywhere in these stories. I think the backstory behind Hastings being like Poirot's so-called like partner, sidekick, is like, well, it's at the very start of the very first Poirot full-length book if you want to read it, but I won't spoil anything, but basically he hurt himself in the war, like his leg or something. So he got like, he went into retirement for that and then met Poirot. They were like at the same house, like the same little town. Yeah. guys are enjoying the book reading, I feel a little bit rather embarrassed at how bad my pronunciation is, because like with some languages I like sort of have an idea of how I might pronounce it, but with French I really have zero clue. So I'm so sorry. This one had particularly many French lines. I only know like mon ami. Well, that one's easy, but then how am I supposed to pronounce like the one you see on screen right now? A la bonne heure? Definitely not like that. Oh man, maybe I need to take a little course in French pronunciation. I have taken 1 year of French when I was really small, but it's so long ago that I only remember like some words like bonjour and petit, or like, well, that's it pretty much. Baguette. A la bonne heure? Jour? I see. Oh, I don't think I want to learn French though. I have no particular interest in the language, other than that it does sound very pretty. It's a very nicely flowing language. Hold on. Yeah. French in shambles? Oh no. Yeah, I have my hands full learning Japanese. I can speak, but I still have a long way to go with Japanese. It's a fancy sounding language. I like how smooth it sounds when people speak. French R's more like using throat instead of tongue. Oh yeah. And didn't French have like the genders for words? I find those really hard to remember. Do I have any of my throat syrup left? I'm gonna have a look in my... Maybe there's like a teaspoon worth. I need to buy more. You're learning both German and French at the same time and always liked French better. I see. Yeah, I've also taken a year of German, so I like dipped my toe into those languages, but didn't want to continue. But Expedition 33, I hear it has a lot of French, but I'm sure it's voice acted. If not the whole game, then at least many parts of it are voice acted. So I'll be able to hear the pronunciations of names and things. But for reading a book, I just have to guess. And I have no idea what to guess even. Hold on, I'll have a quick look in my kitchen. I will be right back. Oh wow, my face was so normal. That's rare. I got the throat syrup bottle, and yeah, there's like only a little bit at the bottom, but I'm trying to get it on a spoon. It's actually this Chinese throat syrup. I learned about it from listening to Hello JP members stream. I think it was Coyote whose stream I heard it mentioned on. but they call it nodochuru, but it's called Ninjeon paper core, and I've been really enjoying this. It feels so good for my vocal cords. Throat coat? Yeah, it's something like that, similar to that. Yeah, paper core is this one, what this one is called. I went through a whole bottle since debut. Because I bought this because I had heard about it, so I bought it on impulse. Kinda like, oh, if I ever need this, it'll be nice to try. And it tastes so good. Like, I love how this tastes. Even though it's kind of medicinal tasting, it's also kind of like syrup or honey. At least the consistency is kind of like similar to honey. It comes in candy form. Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna go to the store where I bought this to buy another one, and I'm gonna ask if they would also import the candy form. I bet it tastes really good. It's not that expensive. Of course, it's a little pricey, but this one bottle lasts quite a long time. Like almost 2 months of me having 1 spoonful per day. I don't think this one has any addictive qualities. I also was concerned about that, and I looked it up. And it's like got natural ingredients. And it's not like sold at a pharmacy, so it's not like a drugstore thing. But I know that some like drugstore things like a nasal spray to get your nostrils open, like those are very addicting. I've been tempted because of my nose getting so easily clogged, but I have refrain because I know I'm gonna get addicted. Yeah, I think you could take this throat syrup like 3 times a day as an adult, or maybe it was once a day. Well, I've been doing 1 spoon once a day, but not every day. So I think that's okay. I mean, that's at least within the it's within the allowed amount. And it's not technically a cough syrup, it's just like a throat syrup. Like, I read that a lot of voice actors use this a lot. Yeah, I also strongly believe that if it contained anything, you know, yabai, it wouldn't just be sold randomly at Asian supermarket here. Like, Finland has very tough regulations. Like, they wouldn't be allowed to import or sell this if it was like probably like seriously addictive or dangerous in some way. I'm pretty sure. Christian Andersen, please put me like a Goodreads link in the literature, the reading channel in the Discord, and I'll have a look later. I have a Goodreads account where I put like my plan to read list. Yeah, we have regulations. Yeah. They're very strict here about things like that. I think it might be considered herbal medicine, yeah. And yeah, I have researched it and it seems totally fine to consume the amount that I am consuming. So there's no worries. And I don't feel like I crave it or anything. It just feels nice. So it's nice. Feels like a nice little treat. Kind of like mixing honey into your tea. You can also dilute it in warm water, and it's nice. Yeah. It's a herbal syrup. Voice actors, swear by it. I see. Yeah. I heard about it from Koyori, like Koyori from Hololive, talking about something called nodochuru and like praising it to no end. And saying like, oh yeah, like all the girls in Hololive are drinking this thing, and I'm like, I must have that. And it took a great deal of effort to find out what the heck nodochuru means, but it's a special nickname for this paper koa, apparently. Also, you mentioned VAs use it. When can we expect you to VA in a game or anime? I don't know. Probably never. Probably never, unless like some publisher reaches out to me, like passionately writes a very passionate email about how they really want me specifically for something. Unless that kind of thing happens, I don't think I'll be voice acting. Yeah. I didn't even have much confidence in my voice at all, like pre-debut. I was super insecure actually, because I was worried it's not high enough, like not cutesy enough, and not energetic enough. So yeah, and I definitely don't know of any voice actors who sound like me. Maybe they exist, but maybe they don't speak the way I do. It's very cute and unique. Thank you. What if someone makes a fan animation of you and asks you to voice act yourself? I mean, I guess that could be a thing. I would be happy to contribute to any fun projects like that. Chihaya's concert today was peak. Deep voices are liked in VTubing. Oh yeah, I feel like they're more liked and appreciated these days, which is really nice. Because part of why I felt self-conscious about it was because I've followed VTubing since the very beginning, essentially. Basically all of the most popular VTubers had like really high-pitched voices. And like Okayu was like the only VTuber I knew with a slightly lower tone. And of course everyone loves Okayu, but Okayu is one VTuber among so many. Like I didn't know anyone else until like Holo Ian with Callie maybe. But these days they're more common, I suppose. That's good. Yeah, so I was really self-conscious for that reason back then. Oh yeah, I also loved when Suisei started using her regular voice. It's like I found Suisei around the same time I started watching Hololive, like Holo JP. Well, back then there was no Holo Ian. And I would listen to Suisei's karaoke. And her singing voice was like her, more or less her regular voice. And then in the interceptions when she talked, it was so different. But then soon after that she changed it to like talk in her natural voice too, and I also preferred that a lot. So I'm glad they didn't force her to keep up something she didn't want to do. So great to hear my forest kind of Finnish wetland together. I hope my Finnish accent isn't that strong. Deep voice ladies are peak, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I won't. I trust you guys now. Yeah, and I was also insecure about my height for very similar reasons, but now I'm not afraid to tell you guys that I'm tall and like, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think I'll just take a little quick bathroom break and then we can start the other story. I just needed a little yep slash drink water break to take a little break because it is a little bit draining to read consecutively with no breaks. The whole thing. Like take my eyes off of the screen a little bit because you need to focus really hard. I was struggling a little bit. I'm sure you noticed, but yeah, I have to focus quite hard to be able to read at a speaking pace and pronounce the words correctly. I mean, this would probably be much easier of a type of stream for native speakers to do. I'm sure I mess up some things, but I'm trying my best. Yeah. Trying my best. But I'm starting to get used to it. I think I got better as the story went on. And I think I'll try to avoid like interjecting with anything like, oh, I'm gonna drink water, or oh, excuse me, I said that wrong, or I'll just fix my mistake without saying anything, or take a sip of water without saying anything so I don't disturb the story. Yeah, and I can't really pronounce like British English because these characters, they're all in England and they're very British. But that's why it's such a pleasure to watch the Poirot TV show, because then you can hear these stories played out by English actors. Yeah. I'm just trying to pronounce in an understandable way. Poirot is Belgian. Yeah. Poirot doesn't sound British, of course, but the rest of them all do. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just be a few minutes and then we can continue. Okay. Should I try to make the unfortunate face happen before I go? No. No. Hello, I'm back. The soul has returned to my body. おかえり、ありがとう。Alright. Okay. Gonna minimize this again, I guess. Okay. Remember to wipe the drool off. Oh my god, that thumbnail with the drool. Man! I gave my editor too much power! I gave my editor way too much power. I should have vetoed that. I should have used my veto rights on that thumbnail. At least get him to remove the drool. If you haven't seen the short thumbnail of my shorts video. The drool is what makes it funny, is it? I just feel like I'm getting humiliated here. Yeah, the short did pop off. I was super happy that it reached like 30k. After 30k, it started like settling back down. It's not really going up anymore. But 30k is super good. It's really good, actually. It was funny. Yeah. My editor is so good. He's OP. He's OP. But with this, I also have to... You know how I felt posting that image of me pulling the trigger on the post button? Like just typing that title, like, I can't believe I'm doing this to myself. I can't believe I'm doing this to myself. The things we do for content. First time I saw it, thought it was from a Clipper channel. Nope. Editor Kunya, he has the vision. He even dropped a PNG of the drooling face on my Discord. The PNG, the high res, and the people were putting it on their profile pictures and putting it on like t-shirts and coffee cups and like they're like, no, what have I done? I mean, what have I let the editor do? Oh no, and I've seen the next thumbnail and it's not any better for me. Oh no. Oh man. Capitalism at its finest? I guess. It's that YouTuber life, I guess. Oh man. Of all funny AFK faces, you're lucky the eyes didn't roll back too. True. That would have been bad. That would have been bad. Permission to use it at my next hoodie. Please do not. I don't want to see this on any t-shirts or any hoodies, okay? No, 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 no. And I'm absolutely not uploading it as a sticker on Discord. No, 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 no. Can it be on a wallpaper? Well, if it's just for your own personal use and you don't have to show it to me. Yeah. Oh yeah, I wonder when I'm gonna schedule the next one. Maybe I'll put the next short up at the same time as tomorrow's stream starts. this week's short. I don't know, so far the plan is to do like one short per week, maybe more if we have a bunch. But like one per week at least. Seems good. Seems good. Yeah, the editor, I don't think he's making any secret out of it. He's on the Discord and put editor in his name, so his name is White Dex. It's very OP. OP Pro editor. I'm very lucky to have his help for my shorts. Yes. Yeah, but I'm still like, I'm posting things myself, so I'm writing the titles and thumbnails, but then I feel so conflicted. I feel so conflicted when the thumbnail looks like that. Yeah, oh my god, don't tell me you're planning to do what someone has done to Kason. Isn't there that infamous guy in Kason's community who shows up to all of her fan meets wearing like this most accursed custom merch with Kason's weirdest faces plastered all over it, like completely covering every inch of his body, and like a mask too? Definitely don't do that to me, okay? There is no need. Yeah, and then like she talked to the guy and was like, how much does this cost? And the guy was like, oh yeah, this thing actually cost quite a lot, and like it was a humongous sum, like the mask or something. Not gonna lie, it is pretty hilarious. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's hilarious to us, but to Kason though. Oh man. Now that you mentioned it, someone's gonna do it. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have talked about it. But it was a funny topic. I wanted to talk about it. You can leave. Leave what is said in the stream. Leave it in the stream. Okay. Maybe a bit more water. Yeah. There are legends like Mike Tyson's. Oh yeah, I know about him too. Yeah. Alright, shall we do, or shall I read out the next story now? I'm sorry, it was a kind of longish break, I guess. Yes. Okay, I don't know if this is a similar length as the other one, but it's probably a similar length, and I hear that this story, or by the title, I would assume that this story is a bit more a darker tone of a story than the previous one with the diamond robbery, which was more adventurous. So this one's probably a more like a not as adventurous one, a more of a dark story with more clues, perhaps. Maybe we will find out. Yeah, hopefully this one is a murder. Well, since it says tragedy in the title, it probably will be a murder mystery this time. We will see. Alright. I'm gonna get started then. So this is the tragedy at Marsdon Manor. I had been called away from town for a few days, and on my return found Poirot in the act of strapping up his small valise. A bonne heure, Hastings. I feared you would not have returned in time to accompany me. You are called away on a case then? Yes, though I am bound to admit that, on the face of it, the affair does not seem promising. The Northern Union Insurance Company have asked me to investigate the death of a Mr. Maltravers, who a few weeks ago insured his life with them for the large sum of £50,000. Yes, I said, much interested. There was, of course, the usual suicide clause in the policy. In the event of his committing suicide within a year, the premiums would be forfeited. Mr. Maltravers was duly examined by the company's own doctor, and although he was a man slightly past the prime of life, was passed as being in quite sound health. However, on Wednesday last, the day before yesterday, the body of Mr. Maltravers was found in the grounds of his house in Essex, Marsdon Manor, and the cause of his death is described as some kind of internal hemorrhage. That in itself would be nothing remarkable, but sinister rumors as to Mr. Maltravers's financial position have been in the air of late, and the Northern Union have ascertained beyond any possible doubt that the deceased gentleman stood upon the verge of bankruptcy. Now that alters matters considerably. Maltravers had a beautiful young wife, and it is suggested that he got together all the ready money he could for the purpose of paying the premiums on a life insurance for his wife's benefit, and then committed suicide. Such a thing is not common. In any case, my friend Alfred Wright, who is a director of the Northern Union, has asked me to investigate the facts of the case, but, as I told him, I am not very hopeful of success. If the cause of the death had been heart failure, I should have been more sanguine. Heart failure may always be translated as the inability of the local GP to discover what his patient really did die of, but a hemorrhage seems fairly definite. Still, we can but make some necessary inquiries. 5 minutes to pack your bag, Hastings, and we will take a taxi to Liverpool Street. About an hour later, we alighted from a Great Eastern train at the little station of Marston Manor. Inquiries at the station yielded the information that Marston Manor was about a mile distant. Poirot decided to walk, and we betook ourselves along the main street. "What is our plan of campaign?" I asked. "First, I will call upon the doctor. I have ascertained that there is only one doctor in Marston Manor, Dr. Ralph Bernard. Ah, here we are at his house." The house in question was a kind of superior cottage, standing back a little from the road. A brass plate on the gate bore the doctor's name. We passed up the path and rang the bell. We proved to be fortunate in our call. It was the doctor's consulting hour, and for the moment there were no patients waiting for him. Dr. Bernard was an elderly man, high-shouldered and stooping, with a pleasant vagueness of manner. Poirot introduced himself and explained the purpose of our visit, adding that insurance companies were bound to investigate fully in a case of this kind. Of course, said Dr. Bernard vaguely. I suppose, as he was such a rich man, His life was insured for a big sum? You consider him a rich man, doctor? The doctor looked rather surprised. Was he not? He kept 2 cars, you know, and Marsdon Manor is a pretty big place to keep up, although I believe he bought it very cheap. I understand that he had had considerable losses of late, said Poirot, watching the doctor narrowly. The latter, however, merely shook his head sadly. Is that so? Indeed, it is fortunate for his wife, then, that there is this life insurance. A very beautiful and charming young creature, but terribly unstrung by this sad catastrophe. A mass of nerves, poor thing. I have tried to spare her all I can, but of course the shock was bound to be considerable. You had been attending Mr. Maltravers recently? My dear sir, I never attended him. What? I understand Mr. Maltravers was a Christian Scientist, or something of that kind. But you examined the body? Certainly. I was fetched by one of the undergardeners. And the cause of death was clear? Absolutely. There was blood on the lips, but most of the bleeding must have been internal. Was he still lying where he had been found? Yes, the body had not been touched. He was lying at the edge of a small plantation. He had evidently been out shooting rooks. A small rook rifle lay beside him. The hemorrhage must have occurred quite suddenly. Gastric ulcer, without a doubt. No question of his having been shot, eh? My dear sir! I demand pardon, said Poirot humbly. But, if my memory is not at fault, in the case of a recent murder, the doctor first gave a verdict of heart failure, altering it when the local constable pointed out that there was a bullet wound through the head. You will not find any bullet wounds on the body of Mr. Maltravers, said Dr. Bernard dryly. Now, gentlemen, if there is nothing further... We took the hint. Good morning, and many thanks to you, Doctor, for so kindly answering our questions. By the way, you saw no need for an autopsy? Certainly not. The doctor became quite apoplectic. The cause of death was clear, and in my profession we see no need to distress unduly the relatives of a dead patient. And turning, the doctor slammed the door sharply in our faces. And what do you think of Dr. Bernard Hastings? Inquired Poirot, as we proceeded on our way to the manor. Rather an old ass. Exactly. Your judgments of character are always profound, my friend. I glanced at him uneasily, but he seemed perfectly serious. A twinkle, however, came into his eye, and he added slyly, That is to say, when there is no question of a beautiful woman. I looked at him coldly. On our arrival at the manor house, the door was opened to us by a middle-aged parlour maid. Poirot handed her his card and a letter from the insurance company for Mrs. Maltravers. She showed us into a small morning room and retired to tell her mistress. About 10 minutes elapsed, and then the door opened and a slender figure in widow's weeds stood upon the threshold. Monsieur Poirot, she faltered. Madame. Poirot sprang gallantly to his feet and hastened towards her. I cannot tell you how I regret to derange you in this way. But what will you? Les affaires, they know no mercy. Mrs. Maltravers permitted him to lead her to a chair. Her eyes were red with weeping, but the temporary disfigurement could not conceal her extraordinary beauty. She was about 27 or 8, and very fair, with large blue eyes and a pretty pouting mouth. "It is something about my husband's insurance, is it? But must I be bothered now, so soon?" "Courage, my dear madame, courage! You see, your late husband insured his life for rather a large sum, and in such a case the company always has to satisfy itself as to a few details. They have empowered me to act for them. You can rest assured that I will do all in my power to render the matter not too unpleasant for you. Will you recount to me briefly the sad events of Wednesday?" "I was changing for tea when my maid came up. One of the gardeners had just run to the house. He had found—" Her voice trailed away. Poirot pressed her hand sympathetically. "I comprehend. Enough. You had seen your husband earlier in the afternoon?" "Not since lunch. I had walked down to the village for some stamps, and I believe he was out pottering round the grounds." "Shooting rooks, eh?" "Yes, he usually took his little rook rifle with him, and I heard 1 or 2 shots in the distance." "Where is this little rook rifle now?" "In the hall, I think." She led the way out of the room and found and handed the little weapon to Poirot, who examined it cursorily. "2 shots fired, I see," he observed as he handed it back. "And now, madame, if I might see—" He paused delicately. "The servant shall take you," she murmured, averting her head. The parlour maid, summoned, led Poirot upstairs. I remained with the lovely and unfortunate woman. It was hard to know whether to speak or remain silent. I essayed 1 or 2 general reflections to which she responded absently, and in a very few minutes Poirot rejoined us. "I thank you for all your courtesy, madame. I do not think you need be troubled any further with this matter. By the way, do you know anything of your husband's financial position?" She shook her head. "Nothing whatever. I am very stupid over business things." "I see. Then you can give us no clue as to why he had suddenly decided to insure his life? He had not done so previously, I understand." "Well, we had only been married a little over a year, but as to why he insured his life, it was because he had absolutely made up his mind that he would not live long. He had a strong premonition of his own death. I gather that he had had 1 hemorrhage already, and that he knew that another one would prove fatal. I tried to dispel these gloomy fears of his, but without avail. Alas, he was only too right." Tears in her eyes, she bade us a dignified farewell. Poirot made a characteristic gesture as we walked down the drive together. "Eh bien, that is that. Back to London, my friend. There appears to be no mouse in this mouse hole. And yet—" "Yet what?" "A slight discrepancy, that is all. You noticed it? You did not? Still, life is full of discrepancies, and assuredly the man cannot have taken his own life. There is no poison that would fill his mouth with blood. No, I must resign myself to the fact that all here is clear and above board. But who is this?" A tall young man was striding up the drive towards us. He passed us without making any sign, but I noted that he was not ill-looking, with a lean, deeply bronzed face that spoke of life in a tropic clime. A gardener who was sweeping up leaves had paused for a minute in his task, and Poirot ran quickly up to him. "Tell me, I pray you, who is that gentleman? Do you know him?" "I don't remember his name, sir, though I did hear it. He was staying down here last week for a night. Tuesday it was. Quick, mon ami, let us follow him. We hastened up the drive after the retreating figure. A glimpse of a black-robed figure on the terrace at the side of the house, and our quarry swerved, and we after him, so that we were witness of the meeting. Mrs. Maltravers almost staggered where she stood, and her face blanched noticeably. "You! I thought you were on the sea, on your way to East Africa." "I got some news from my lawyers that detained me," explained the young man. "My old uncle in Scotland died unexpectedly and left me some money. Under the circumstances, I thought it better to cancel my passage. Then I saw this bad news in the paper, and I came down to see if there was anything I could do. You'll want someone to look after things for you a bit, perhaps." At that moment, they became aware of our presence. Poirot stepped forward and with many apologies explained that he had left his stick in the hall. Rather reluctantly, it seemed to me, Mrs. Maltravers made the necessary introduction. "Monsieur Poirot, Captain Black." A few minutes' chat ensued, in the course of which Poirot elicited the fact that Captain Black was putting up at the Anchor Inn. The missing stick not having been discovered, which was not surprising, Poirot uttered more apologies and we withdrew. We returned to the village at a great pace, and Poirot made a beeline for the Anchor Inn. "Here we establish ourselves until our friend the captain returns," he explained. "You noticed that I emphasized the point that we were returning to London by the first train? Possibly you thought I meant it. But no, you observed Mrs. Maltravers's face when she caught sight of this young Black? She was clearly taken aback, and he? Eh bien, he was very devoted, did you not think so? And he was here on Tuesday night, the day before Mr. Maltravers died. We must investigate the doings of Captain Black, Hastings." In about half an hour, we espied our quarry approaching the inn. Poirot went out and accosted him, and presently brought him up to the room we had engaged. "I have been telling Captain Black of the mission which brings us here," he explained. "You can understand, Monsieur le Capitaine, that I am anxious to arrive at Mr. Maltravers's state of mind immediately before his death, and that at the same time I do not wish to distress Mrs. Maltravers unduly by asking her painful questions. Now, you were here just before the occurrence and can give us equally valuable information." "I'll do anything I can to help you, I'm sure," replied the young soldier. "But I'm afraid I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. You see, although Maltravers was an old friend of my people's, I didn't know him very well myself." "You came down when?" "Tuesday afternoon. I went up to town early Wednesday morning, as my boat sailed from Tilbury about 12 o'clock. But some news I got made me alter my plans, as I dare say you heard me explain to Mrs. Maltravers." "You were returning to East Africa, I understand?" "Yes, I've been out there ever since the war. A great country." "Exactly. Now, what was the talk about at dinner on Tuesday night?" "Oh, I don't know. The usual odd topics. Maltravers asked after my people, and then we discussed the question of German reparations, and then Mrs. Maltravers asked a lot of questions about East Africa, and I told them one or two yarns. That's about all, I think." "Thank you." Poirot was silent for a moment. Then he said gently, "With your permission, I should like to try a little experiment. You have told us all that your conscious self knows. I want now to answer. I want now to question your subconscious self. Psychoanalysis? What? Said Black with visible alarm. Oh no, said Poirot reassuringly. You see, it is like this. I give you a word, you answer it with another, and so on. Any word, the first one you think of. Shall we begin? All right, said Black slowly, but he looked uneasy. Note down the words, please, Hastings, said Poirot. Then he took from his pocket his big turnip-faced watch and laid it on the table beside him. We will commence. Day. There was a moment's pause, and then Black replied, Night. As Poirot proceeded, his answers became quicker. Name, said Poirot. Place. Bernard. Shaw. Tuesday. Dinner. Journey. Ship. Country. Uganda. Story. Lions. Rook rifle. Farm. Shot. Suicide. Elephant. Tusks. Money. Lawyers. Thank you, Captain Black. Perhaps you could spare me a few minutes in about half an hour's time? Certainly. The young soldier looked at him curiously and wiped his brow as he got up. And now, Hastings, said Poirot, smiling at me as the door closed behind him. You see it all, do you not? I don't know what you mean. Does that list of words tell you nothing? I scrutinized it, but was forced to shake my head. I will assist you. To begin with, Black answered well within the normal time limit, with no pauses, so we can take it that he himself has no guilty knowledge to conceal. Day to night and place to name are normal associations. I began work with Bernard, which might have suggested that the local doctor had he come across him at all. Evidently, he had not. After our recent conversation, he gave dinner to my Tuesday, but journey and country were answered by ship and Uganda, showing clearly that it was his journey abroad that was important to him and not the one which brought him down here. Story recalls to him one of the lion stories he told at dinner. I proceeded to rook rifle, and he answered with the totally unexpected word farm. When I say shot, he answers at once suicide. The association seems clear. Remember too that his mind is still on the stories he told at dinner, and I think you will agree that I shall not be far from the truth if I recall Captain Black and ask him to repeat the particular suicide story which he told at the dinner table on Tuesday evening. Black was straightforward enough over the matter. Yes, I did tell them that story now that I come to think of it. Chap shot himself on a farm out there. Did it with a rook rifle through the roof of his mouth, bullet lodged in the brain. Doctors were no end puzzled over it. There was nothing to show except a little blood on the lips. But what? What has it got to do with Mr. Multravers? You did not know, I see, that he was found with a rook rifle by his side. You mean my story suggested to him? Oh, but that is awful. Do not digress yourself. It would have been one way or another. Well, I must get on the telephone to London. Poirot had a lengthy conversation over the wire and came back thoughtful. He went off by himself in the afternoon, and it was not till 7 o'clock that he announced that he could put it off no longer, but must break the news to the young widow. My sympathy had already gone out to her unreservedly. To be left penniless, and with the knowledge that her husband had killed himself to assure her future was a hard burden for any woman to bear. I cherished a secret hope, however, that young Black might prove capable of consoling her after her first grief had passed. He evidently admired her enormously. Our interview with the lady was painful. She refused vehemently to believe the facts that Poirot advanced, and when she was at last convinced, broke down into bitter weeping. An examination of the body turned our suspicions into certainty. Poirot was very sorry for the poor lady, but, after all, he was employed by the insurance company, and what could he do? As he was preparing to leave, he said gently to Mrs. Maltravers, "Madame, you of all people should know that there are no dead." "What do you mean?" she faltered, her eyes growing wide. "Have you never taken part in any spiritualistic seances? You are mediumistic, you know." "I have been told so, but you do not believe in spiritualism, surely?" "Madame, I have seen some strange things. You know that they say in the village that this house is haunted?" She nodded, and at that moment the parlour maid announced that dinner was ready. "Won't you just stay and have something to eat?" We accepted gratefully, and I felt that our presence could not but help distract her a little from her own griefs. We had just finished our soup when there was a scream outside the door, and the sound of breaking crockery. We jumped up. The parlour maid appeared, her hand to her heart. It was a man, standing in the passage. Poirot rushed out, returning quickly. "There is no one there." "Isn't there, sir?" said the parlour maid weakly. "Oh, it did give me a start." "But why?" She dropped her voice to a whisper. I thought it was the master. It looked like him." I saw Mrs. Maltravers give a terrified start, and my mind flew to the old superstition that a suicide cannot rest. She thought of it too, I am sure, for a minute later she caught Poirot's arm with a scream. "Didn't you hear that? Those 3 taps on the window? That's how he always used to tap when he passed round the house." "The ivy," I cried. "It was the ivy against the pane." But a sort of terror was gaining on us all. The parlour maid was obviously unstrung, and when the meal was over, Mrs. Maltravers besought Poirot not to go at once. She was clearly terrified to be left alone. We sat in the little morning room. The wind was getting up and moaning round the house in an eerie fashion. Twice the door of the room came unlatched, and the door slowly opened, and each time she clung to me with a terrified gasp. "Ah, but this door, it is bewitched!" cried Poirot angrily at last. He got up and shut it once more, then turned the key in the lock. "I shall lock it, so." "Don't do that," she gasped. "If it should come open now." And even as she spoke, the impossible happened. The locked door slowly swung open. I could not see into the passage from where I sat, but she and Poirot were facing it. She gave one long shriek as she turned to him. "You saw him? There in the passage?" she cried. He was staring down at her with a puzzled face, then shook his head. "I saw him, my husband. You must have seen him too?" "Madame, I saw nothing. You are so well, unstrung." "I am perfectly well. Oh God!" Suddenly, without warning, the lights quivered and went out. Out of the darkness came 3 loud raps. I could hear Mrs. Maltravers moaning. And then I saw. The man I had seen on the bed upstairs stood there facing us, gleaming with a faint ghostly light. There was blood on his lips, and he held his right hand out, pointing. Suddenly, a brilliant light seemed to proceed from it. It passed over Poirot and me and fell on Mrs. Maltravers. I saw her white, terrified face and something else. "My God, Poirot!" I cried. "Look at her hand! Her right hand! It's all red!" Her own eyes fell on it, and she collapsed in a heap on the floor. "Blood!" she cried hysterically. "Yes, it's blood! I killed him! I did it!" he was showing me. And then I put my hand on the trigger and pressed. "Save me from him! Save me! He's come back!" Her voice died away in a gurgle. "Lights," said Poirot briskly. The lights went on as if by magic. "That's it," he continued. "You heard, Hastings? And you, Everett? Oh, by the way, this is Mr. Everett, rather a fine member of the theatrical profession. I phoned to him this afternoon. His makeup is good, isn't it? Quite like the dead man, and with a pocket torch and the necessary phosphorescence, he made the proper impression. I shouldn't touch her right hand if I were you, Hastings. Red paint marks so. When the lights went out, I clasped her hand, you see. By the way, we mustn't miss our train. Inspector Japp is outside the window. A bad night, but he has been able to while away the time by tapping on the window every now and then. You see, continued Poirot as we walked briskly through the wind and the rain, there was a little discrepancy. The doctor seemed to think the deceased was a Christian Scientist, and who could have given him that impression but Mrs. Maltravers? But to us she represented him as being in a grave state of apprehension about his own health. Again, why was she so taken aback by the reappearance of young Black? And lastly, although I know that convention decrees that a woman must make a decent pretense of mourning for her husband, I do not care for such heavily rouged eyelids. You did not observe them, Hastings? No? As I always tell you, you see nothing. Well, there it was. There were the 2 possibilities. Did Black's story suggest an ingenious method of committing suicide to Mr. Maltravers, or did his other listener, the wife, see an equally ingenious method of committing murder? I incline to the latter view. To shoot himself in the way indicated, he would probably have had to pull the trigger with his toe, or at least so I imagine. Now, if Maltravers had been found with one boot off, we should almost certainly have heard of it from someone. An odd detail like that would have been remembered. No, as I say, I'm inclined to the view that it was a case of murder, not suicide, but I realized that I had not a shadow of proof in support of my theory. Hence the elaborate little comedy you saw played tonight. Even now, I don't quite see all the details of the crime, I said. Let us start from the beginning. Here is a shrewd and scheming woman who, knowing of her husband's financial debacle and tired of the elderly maid she has only married for his money, induces him to insure his life for a large sum, then seeks for the means to accomplish her purpose. An accident gives her that. The young soldier's strange story. The next afternoon, when Monsieur le Capitaine, as she thinks, is on the high seas. She and her husband are strolling round the grounds. "What a curious story that was last night," she observes. "Could a man shoot himself in such a way? Do show me if it is possible." The poor fool, he shows her. He places the end of the rifle in his mouth. She stoops down and puts her finger on the trigger, laughing up at him. "And now, sir," she says saucily, "supposing I pull the trigger?" And then Hastings, she pulls it. All right, that's the end of the story. She pulled the trigger. I think this one was rather interesting and fun. I love it when they make those dramatic kind of plays, then freak out the murderer and make them confess. Very nice, very nice. Gruesome scene, yeah. Just woke up from an hour nap. Oh, good morning. I'm glad you were able to relax. The mystery was simple, but the theatrics to get the confession was great. Yeah. In these kind of cases with a elderly so-called rich husband and wife, it is so often the wife. No matter how many red herrings they try to throw at us, it's usually the one who has the most money to gain. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that was the story. I have been standing up all this time actually, so I think I'm gonna lower my monitors and sit down. I can probably thank the memberships and read the super chats if there's been any during the stream. I haven't had the alerts open, so I'm not sure, but I will have a seat. Just a moment. Why is this stuck? Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Okay, I got it. All right. Nice. And then the screen. Okay. Feels so good to sit down. Okay. If the wife was as clever during the fake haunting as she was during the murder, she could have gotten away with it. Oh yeah, she could have. She totally could have. But yeah, I guess it was a really convincing scene that they built with the actor. The actor who played the dead man's ghost. Okay. Poirot would make for a good poker player. That's true. I don't know if he engages in activities as scandalous as gambling. I liked how you narrated the ghost part too. Oh, thank you. I'm always a bit unsure how much I should try to play it up for these parts, but I try to a little bit. It would be fun if I knew how to voice act and could make a slightly different voice for each character, but I'm not really good at that, or I have like zero practice with that, so didn't wanna embarrass myself by trying. Should play it up more? I think I did a fair bit. Okay. I'm gonna turn the BGM back on. There we go. Yeah. I actually started listening to an audiobook for the first time ever recently, and that one is voiced by like a voice actor, and she does a different voice for every character. And it is a little bit jarring, but also it is pretty fun to listen to. It is pretty fun. And then you know who is talking. Whereas if I'm just reading like I am or I have been reading, it's not obvious who's the person talking if you haven't been like paying attention. Or it's usually, it doesn't even say like he said or Poirot said or something like that. It doesn't even say that after half the lines. Yeah, I don't know if I wanna go full on the acting, but maybe I will try someday. I feel like I need to go to like a voice acting class or something. That's how little experience I have with that kind of thing. I think your narration is good as it is already. Thank you. I tried my best. You wonder if she would have gotten away with it if she removed the husband's shoes? I didn't really understand what that thing was of, like, with the toes and the boot. I didn't quite get that while I was reading, but I was also locked in on trying to pronounce stuff. So I didn't have my brain cells fully to use for actually thinking about what I'm reading. Maybe he pulled the trigger with his toe. Yeah, I know that much, but like, why though? Oh, there was a raid. Hold on. Let me see my alerts list. I saw it from the corner of my eye, but I thought it might be really... It might be a bit distracting if I start thanking the raid during the story. So I thought I can maybe wait until after. His boot would not fit in the trigger guard. But why would he have had to have done it with his toe? Yeah. The rifle too big to... Oh, so if the gun was like really long and big, he couldn't have like reached the trigger with his hands when the gun was like pointing in his mouth. Like it was a very long gun. Okay, so that's why he would have like had to have pulled the trigger with his toe. Ah, I see. Okay, now that makes sense. Yeah, so I guess the lady didn't realize this and she left his shoes on. But if she had taken off one shoe and a sock, maybe then she might have gotten away with it. Not smart enough. Rifle. Yeah, I have actually tried shooting with a hunting rifle once, and they are very long now that I think of it. Because my dad has one for hunting moose, and I tried to shoot at a can once. It was very heavy, extremely heavy. Like I could almost barely hold it. Like those are much heavier than they look. How long ago? Kinda long ago at this point, I guess. Maybe I would be stronger now, hold it better. Did I hit the can? I think so. It had a very good scope, so it would be hard to miss a can. That was, like at a reasonably close distance. Well, still kind of far, but he didn't make it difficult for me. Yeah, that was really heavy. Okay, now I'm gonna go on Streamlabs, the website, because the thing on the OBS widget, it broke. It's white and I can't get it to log in. Streamlabs. Simo Veera. My grandpa is called Simo, actually. He's also got one of those. Recent events. Loading. Ah, here we go. Nice. Nice. How long has the stream been so far? 2.5 hours. I see. You've always wanted to try? Yeah, I guess you could at like a shooting range. I want to try riding a horse at least one time in my life. But I never go for it, even though I've driven past, like, or been in a car that drove past, like, these places where you could ride horses, like a horse stable. Like, I've seen the signs on the road, and I'm like, oh, I bet you could try that over there. Kinda shocked you never have. Well, I did grow up in the city, even though my grandparents have a farm. But by the time I was growing up and visiting them, they stopped farm activities, and there's no longer any farm or animals there. Have I tried hunting or fishing? I've tried fishing, but not hunting. I don't really want to go sit in the forest getting bit by all the insects, waiting for a moose to stroll by, maybe, if I'm lucky. Yeah, and besides to hunt, you need like a hunting license, and you'd have to study a book first and take an exam and do training. So hunting is not so straightforward to get into. But yeah, let me oh wait, who was the raid? Oh, cool. Thank you very much. Wait, is it pronounced cool or cool or cool? Thank you very much for the raid, cool. I bet they've already left, but I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Cool? Like Swedish cool? Cool? Yeah. But thank you very much. I really appreciate the raid, and yeah, I hope that you guys had a nice dream and went off to have a good rest. Sorry I'm so late. I didn't want to interrupt the story. But yeah, if any raiders have stayed in the chat, welcome. My name is Veera, and I'm an illustrator from Finland, and yeah, today I was reading some short stories. It's a bedtime story time. Yes. If you like fishing, Kyla will be your best friend. I thought fishing was fun, but I didn't have the heart to kill the fish. So it's probably not really the hobby for me. It felt so gruesome to murder the fish. Yeah. You don't usually kill the fish, but my family, when we go fishing in order to get fish to eat, and then we cook it after we caught it. Which means killing the fish and cleaning the insides. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. But if you just release the fish, oh, but it's so terrible when the hook gets swallowed and you can't get the hook out, and it's like a rip fish. Rip. Feels bad, man. Most hobbyists would release. Okay, I see. Well, maybe I can try fishing again sometime, and then I can release the fish instead of preparing to eat it myself immediately afterwards. Yeah. Because we ate the fish. We ate the fish that we caught. I think my family had like these cage type of thingies in the lake outside the cottage, and fish would just swimming into the cage, and then we'd check the cages periodically and see if there's any good fish in there, and if there was like a particularly good fish, we'd eat it and then release the rest. But if we were fishing by hand, then we would just like eat our catches. But yeah, someone else always did that gruesome part and not me. Yeah, not me. Thanks for the stream, it was so relaxing. You have a nice and soothing voice. Thank you so much, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. Glad it was nice. Wait a minute. Oh, these are from 3 days ago. From Sunday, okay. Okay, 3 hours ago, yes. Tema, thank you again for the 10 gifted. Oh, I should put my alerts back on. Oh, I just saw something flash. I just saw something flash. Okay, hold on. Right, Kurayo, thank you for the membership. And Kurayo, thank you for the... Why is there 2 memberships? Oh, for some reason there's 2 membership alerts for the same person. But hello, Cryo. Thank you and welcome. Dandre Art, thank you for the Twitch sub. Thank you. And Real Makka, thank you for the membership. I need Veera audiobook. I wonder if I could do that. I don't know. I'm not that good. I make a lot of pronunciation errors. I'm not native English. Not a native speaker. But yeah, maybe. I don't know. Seems like a big undertaking too, to read out loud a whole book. And then it has to like all sound the same. And like, what if your voice gets tired? ESL even. Yeah, I have been diagnosed with ESL, unfortunately. It's terminal. Yeah. Not a native speaker maybe, but your English is very good. Thank you. Yeah, I would consider myself fluent, but yeah, obviously not native. Only natives can say that they're native. Yeah. Most of us is ESL as well. Yeah, but that's the beauty of things with streaming in English. You can reach such a wide variety of people. It's great. You also have a terminal case of ESL? Yeah. Yep. We are in the same boat. Yeah, I don't know about an audiobook, but if a publisher were to reach out like, we want you! Maybe I might consider it, but I don't think I would go out of my way to, join some kind of agency or anything like that. Yeah. Musabake, thank you very much for 6 MIR super chat. Now this is quality AFK face. Oh, that one that looked kind of like a blink. Oh, why is it not working? Blink. The blink is struggling. Yeah, that was pretty good. I don't know how it's gonna go when I turn away, but then I take a quick glance back at my computer screen like I was so shocked the first time I saw that, but yeah. I have grown to accept the AFK faces. They're pretty funny now that I'm used to them. I mean, the smog emote we have is pretty close, but well, it's not the same. But I drew that before I had my model. I drew the emotes first. They were like the first thing I prepared. So I mean, that's pretty close considering I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Yeah. And Fuzzy SA, thank you for the $5 super chat. No man greater, no man manlier than Hercule Poirot, greatest detective this or any age. Hell yeah. Yeah, I agree. Although I haven't read enough other detective stories aside from Miss Marple. I still need to read Sherlock Holmes and these other ones. Your emotes are all really cute. Thank you. I'm glad. Yay. I simplified my style for them because I used to shade my emotes more. But I started to feel like I would prefer a cell shaded style instead. Yeah, so I made the new ones all cell shaded. I feel like it's better because it makes the face more clear and easier to see when there isn't shading distracting you or other information, if you get what I mean. the face is the main information. But if the shading was there, then like the shading would also be taking your attention and not just the expression. Yeah, at least that's what I've been thinking when I made those. Yeah, I like them a lot too. Although there's a bunch I would feel like I could do differently or do it better, but haven't really had time to go back and remake anything. And FX Cat, thank you for the membership. Yo buds, come join Veera Cord. We're like chill or something. Yeah, the Discord is very, very active. I'm active there too. And there is even a insider shenanigans document collection, so you can read up on any jokes. Very nice of you to make such a document. Yeah, and I believe the voice chat channel has surpassed 400 hours of uninterrupted activity. That's insane. I think they're aiming for 1,000 hours. That's insane. Yeah. Yeah, we do be having some shenanigans in the Discord. Yeah, but everyone's super kind and friendly. And there's like a work together channel too, where we're like screen sharing stuff that we're working on for productivity's sake, because if someone's watching, you can't slack off. Should celebrate it when it gets to 1,000. Yeah, sure, but how though? Yeah. How though? Should we do something together? I don't know. Karaoke. I thought, didn't I say before that I would consider karaoke when we reach 100,000 subscribers? And this is a way for me to postpone it so I don't have to embarrass myself yet. Because I don't think I'm that good. In fact, I'm very bad compared to most VTubers, because there's so many amazing singers in the VTubing scene, and I'm not one of those. But maybe I could sing one song in like Discord karaoke. And we had like an 8 hours long karaoke session in the Discord voice channel. I didn't take part, but I was watching you guys from the sidelines. Yeah, I was very much too tired and also too shy. Yeah. Yep. Okay, and then there was the raid from Cool and a Wolf 812. Thank you for the gift sub to Cool. Thank you very much for gifting us up, Wolf. Thank you. Thank you. And T Kessel Chen, thank you for the €10 super chat. Thank you. Thank you for the busy schedule this week. I'm looking forward to the collabs. Hype. Yeah, thank you. I'm so looking forward to the collabs too. We'll be playing Finnish Cottage Simulator with Kyla this Saturday. It's happening. Oh, I was making the thumbnail last night and I was so excited as I was making the thumbnail, like, oh my god, It's happening! Yay! Oh, it's gonna be so good. I'm so excited. I have high expectations for that game. Although, I think it might be easy for me as a Finnish person because it is Finnish cottage simulator. And I know how to operate a Finnish cottage. I would hope. But I saw some gameplay and there's mosquitoes. So I predict I'm gonna get tilted out of my mind by the mosquitoes. Most likely. But I think also it might be a good idea not to do too much myself and let Kyla try doing all the stuff. Because if I know how to light up a sauna and stuff like that, so it's not fun if I just tell all the right answers so immediately. Yeah. We'll see how it goes, we'll see. You'll have to play it blindfolded for the challenge. Uh-oh. That would be a bit too difficult. And then I couldn't kill the mosquitoes, so that's a no-go. Yeah. Yeah. I'm so excited. And yeah, on Sunday I will drop by into Yenko's birthday stream to play a bit of Gartic Phone. Yeah, it'll just be like a casual thing though, so I won't be streaming it on my end. So yeah, I will be just a quick guest on Oyenko's birthday stream. Yeah, so that'll be on Sunday. And tomorrow is Elden Ring time. Wait, I'm talking about the schedule at this point. Should I just show the schedule? The schedule graphic. Schedule graphic is here. Yeah, so tomorrow is Elden Ring time. I have recovered from my crushing defeat against Malenia. So we can now continue playing. I'm gonna go in the giant mountain, do some training, and hopefully we'll come back stronger after that and be able to defeat Malenia, but not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. But it is other late game content, so I'm still excited for this late game stuff. Yeah, so that's this week. Tomorrow's schedule starts a bit early for Europeans, but I'm doing this because then it's 2 p.m. Finnish time, and if I stream for a long time, then I'll be able to have dinner like before midnight. Because every time I streamed Elden Ring, I do it for such a long time, and then I'm like having dinner at midnight, and that's so bad for my internal clock. So I don't really want to do that. So that's why it starts earlier. A bit earlier. I'm gonna test how it would be. You tried Malenia? Oh, I tried! I tried for an entire 8-hour long stream. That is the latest Elden Ring VOD if you wanna have a look. I got pretty good at the first phase. Like, I was getting consistently almost every single time, basically every time into the second phase. But then I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Yeah. If you plan for a long stream, no. I'm planning for a normal stream, and I'm also planning that after the Elden Ring stream, I would read super chats on a different day instead of the end of the stream like this, because I need to make my streams a bit more reasonable in length. I mean, I can do long streams occasionally, but my health had a bit of a terrible burnout last week, so I'm trying to be a little bit careful not to overdo it. So that's why. You got her low on phase 2 on a couple of times. That was nice. Yeah, I think my record was like 25% health left in second phase. Yeah, that's why Kyla is limited to 5-hour streams now, health reasons. Oh, I see. So she and or her managers have imposed a limit. I see. That is smart. Yeah. Think you'll get her for sure next time? I hope so. Maybe if I, level up a bit, have just a bit more damage, then I'll be able to do it. Because if I'm consistently in the second phase, I should be able to do it. Yeah. Probably her manager. Mane-san. Clocked in at the Millennia Butcher Factory. Yeah. That was a difficult time. I had fun though, but then on Monday I was like, oh my god, I'm tired. Holy moly. So that's no good. I need to limit myself a little bit. Yeah. I think I was really having a delicate sort of balance with my stress in the recent times, because things have been overwhelming for me. But I already talked about this for like 2 hours on the previous stream, in the Steam sale, summer sale shopping stream. So I'm not gonna get into this topic again. Yeah, where were we on the alerts list? Hold on, let me have a look. Oh yeah, I was thanking T. Kesselton's super chat. Yeah. Musab K, thank you again for 15 MYR super chat. Another contribution towards the Lohi Rahasto and the cleaning service Rahasto. Thank you for the comfy stream. No, thank you so much for your support, Musab. Yeah, cleaning service fund. True. Oh, that reminds me. The cleaning lady is coming tomorrow. I need to tidy up a little bit, so stuff was not gonna be in the way of the vacuum. I gotta do that today. It's not that messy. Just a little bit. I didn't do very much last week, so. Melania has a real life lifesteal damage. She does. Staying focused that long impacts you harder than you'd think. It did. Like, I think I was using up like tomorrow's and the day after tomorrow's energy to stay focused on Melania for that long. Yeah. The cleaning lady is coming. I should clean up before she arrives. But it's true. If there's stuff, she can't vacuum properly and it's gonna be difficult for her, so. And if there's clutter, she can't even dust the table and things, so. I need to tidy up before the cleaning service. Yeah, maybe Melania should be like 1 hour at a time and then go play some other region and go back instead of just Melania all stream long. But then again, I know myself, so I get too locked in and I don't want to stop. Too locked in. Yeah. Kitolds, thank you very much for the membership. Thank you. I think this was the last one. Alrighty. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Finnish time in the afternoon. It's very soon. Very soon indeed. To continue Elden Ring. Oh, I should make the waiting room public. Where's my YouTube Studio tab? Oh, I don't have a YouTube Studio tab. Oh, that was an autoplay. Okay, good, it was muted. Yeah. Live streams. The upcoming. I scheduled everything, but they're unlisted so far. Public. Publish. Okay. Now tomorrow's waiting room is open. And you can see I put my very best I'm not a sore loser face in the thumbnail. I'm not a sore loser. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah. But yeah, that's my first big defeat. The only other one was a Mog. But I got Mog the next stream, so this was the first serious crushing defeat that I have to actually leave the boss arena to go play something else and come back. Oh wait, no, there was the Falling Star Beast before too, that I had to leave for a later time. You know, the one on top of the mountain? The rocky bull with the gravity magic? Yeah, that one I had to... I suffered a crushing defeat. It's in my old Elden Ring VODs, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it isn't, I'm not sure. Okay. Now it is time for me to go have dinner. I don't have anything healthy cooked right now though. I finished all of my leftovers. Finished them all. But I have one emergency Thai cube in my freezer, so I'm gonna have that. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm gonna eat. Maybe I should just run to the grocery store real quick after I ate, because there's one that's open until 10 p.m, so for like 2 more hours, and buy something so I can have food tomorrow. Buy something for tomorrow evening. Not salmon though, because the salmon in the small store is so expensive. Something else that I can cook. Maybe I can plan a really nice omelette with like a bunch of toppings and stuff inside. That might be good. I can whip that up after Elden Ring. Actually, I need lunch too. I'll think about it while I eat. Yeah. Yep. Slowly understand why so many VTubers are ordering food. Me too. I basically never ordered food, and the first time I had to do that in this city where I live was after the debut. I had run out of literally everything in my fridge, and I had to order food. One time, actually I went out to eat. I didn't order it home. I picked it up and I came back home with it. So I had to do that once. Yeah, the grocery stores are not open 24/7, unfortunately. For the people who do live next to 24/7 open grocery stores now, well, they're just probably tired and that's why they're ordering food. If they don't have time to cook, tired or no time, one of the two. Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scene things to arrange. As a VTuber, it's more work than I expected it to be honest. So even if I do 3 streams a week, it still takes a considerable amount of time to do everything off stream that I need to do, and then I basically haven't had any free time so far, except like, well, this week and last week, and yeah. But like in the month and a half following debut, basically no free time until I forced myself to take some and schedule less streams. Yeah, but it is crazy how like even 3 streams can end up taking all the time. Yeah. So like people that are doing like 4 or 5 streams a week are really on the grind, and they must have a really good system set up to be able to manage their content and also stay healthy in real life and have a clean home and a social life and sleep 8 hours. I imagine some of those things are not don't have time for all of those things all the time. I mean, I sure don't. It's hard, yeah. But yeah, today I was hanging out with my friends, and yesterday also, so I feel very refreshed and nice. That was very nice, yeah. I have a social life, you guys. Would you believe it? Yeah. Would you believe it? A VTuber with a social life? Unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah, we went to some thrift stores, and it was like 2 thrift stores that I hadn't been to before, and they were really nice. There were a lot of nice things. Yeah, and I got some cute gifts that I'm gonna send to my Japanese friend. I'm gonna send them to her in the mail. Yeah. I'm very happy I found some really cute. Because my friend is pregnant. I found a super cute children's outfit. It's so cute. Oh, I was obsessing over it when I got back home. It's so cute. Yeah. Adorable. The most adorable outfit I've ever seen in my life, actually. Like a children's outfit. Yeah. So I'm gonna send it to her. And there were 2 outfits actually, and I'm gonna give the other one to her other friend who also has a small kid. Yeah. Oh my god, people my age are having children. Oh. Well, that is the reality we live in. Yeah. But I'm so happy I found something cute to send. Because I had been wanting to send something nice to her. Yeah. The only person I will permit to call me auntie or obasan is gonna be my friend's kids. So don't you try. Don't try that with me. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna have dinner now. I'll see you all tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow 2 p.m. finish time. You can see the schedule on Discord or on my socials. And the waiting room is open too, yeah. Okay. Okay. Bit of a short 3-hour stream today. Wait, it's a normal stream! It's a normal stream! Yay, I did it! Finally, I managed a normal length stream. Amazing. I'm gonna pat myself on the back this evening. A normal stream. Yay. Okay. Alrighty. So have a good night, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the short stories today. Do let me know in the comments after the live ended what you thought, and if you'd like for me to read more books. Because I read all the comments, and it does affect what I decide to do to some extent if many people are asking for something. So if you really enjoyed it, do let me know. Yeah, feedback is precious and important. So yeah, have a good night, everyone, or a good day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.